think we got some elk coming up here. Sorry, yeah, there we go. Gotta watch out. Nope, don't do it. Don't do it, you stupid critter. I think I might have mentioned this in a previous video, but in this town, elk are basically like pigeons in the city. 800-pound pigeons. A little worried about the topic I chose for the first motovlog. He says that the only people that usually watch motovlogs are people who motovlog themselves or people who just really like riding motorcycles. And since I chose to just talk about how people who motovlog are stupid, I might be alienating most of the people who would watch his TubeU channel in the first place. He said he didn't really want to censor me, but he did want to try to point me in the right direction. Like, if I'm going to talk about something that's stupid, then talk about something that everybody thinks is stupid. Or maybe everybody who watches his TubeU channel thinks is stupid. And I said, for example, and he said, well, how about people who text while they're driving? Alright, I think that's stupid. You shouldn't text while you're driving. You might wreck. Most of all, you might run over somebody who's motovlogging. Let's think about it here. Like, we don't really have much going for us when it comes to a person on a motorcycle versus a car, right? If you look at the statistics, you are 37 times more likely to die riding a motorcycle than you are driving in a car. And that's not a huge surprise. When I was first looking at riding motorcycles, I went and I looked up all the data and I tried to figure out exactly how likely it would be for me to die, considering how many miles I planned on riding my motorcycle every year for however many years I planned on riding. And it's about 1 in 1.4 million chances what I figured. That didn't sound too bad, but if you consider, I also buy lotto tickets thinking that there's a chance I'm going to win one of those, and the odds of winning one of those is about 1 in 5.4 million. So it's about 4 or 5 times more likely I'm going to die on a motorcycle than it is I'm going to win the lottery. Yet I keep playing the lottery. So I guess what I'm saying is riding a motorcycle is stupid. Everybody thinks, you know what, I'm just gonna do things to stack the deck in my favor and it's not gonna be that dangerous, but not so much. I mean, for a while I was thinking, well, it's just those young idiot hooligans on crotch rockets that are making the statistics so bad, but the fact of the matter is the group most likely to get themselves killed on a motorcycle are people who are 50 plus. About 35% of all fatalities are people 50 plus on motorcycles. And I think it's only 29% or 25%, somewhere in there, for people who are 29 and younger. And sport bikes actually don't overrepresent all that much. What else did I learn when I was looking that stuff up? Well, helmets. You're probably stupid if you don't already know this, but helmets are about, if you wear a helmet, you're 37% less likely to get yourself killed, because around 37-40% of all fatalities are head injuries. Drinking, that's a bad one, which boggles my mind, but about 1/3 of all fatalities involve alcohol. About 45% of all motorcycle fatalities are single vehicle incidents, meaning they didn't get any help. It wasn't that they got run over by a car. They pretty much hit a corner too hot and ran off it and got themselves killed. 45%. So, there's really no getting around it. If you ride a motorcycle, you're stupid. I kind of like the way the comedian South Myers put it. He said, riding motorcycles is like a cigarette smoking of transportation. It's just kind of hard to understand. the upsides really don't outweigh the downsides. You're right about that. Well, up here in a second, I'll show you firsthand what I think is part of the problem, and then throw out some ideas for what they're worth and how we can make this situation a little bit better. But just to understand, you're assuming a pretty huge risk if you ride a motorcycle, period. I mean, even if you put on high-vis Kevlar and wear a helmet and be as safe as possible, the fact of the matter is nothing you can do can help your odds of living better than just not getting on the stupid motorcycle to begin with. Here's one thing I do. Ride like you are invisible. I even say a little chant when I first get on the motorcycle to remind myself to ride like I'm invisible. Because pretty much you are. I am now on a motorcycle. Therefore, I am invisible. The only people who can see me are those who are actively trying to kill me. And I will not let them today. If you assume somebody can see you and you make a decision based on the assumption somebody can see you, you assumed too much. We all know what happens when you make an assumption. Make an ass out of you and umption. Alright, now coming up here, you will probably see a whole bunch of motorcycles parked on the side of the road. And you're probably going to go by too fast to really see what the businesses are that they're parked in front of, but they're all bars. Pretty much all the bars have motorcycles parked in front of them. There we go, right there. Motorcycles parked in front of a bar. Usually that whole segment there is full of motorcycles. And then what happens when you park a motorcycle in front of a bar? You usually go inside and maybe you have a drink. That's stupid. But it's kind of the motorcycle culture for some people, isn't it? Hey look, there's some motorcycles probably going to a bar. So they have a drink, maybe just one. They think that's okay in this bar. These bars here at about 7,000 feet above sea level, so that alcohol hits pretty hard. Then they go riding down a canyon road and get themselves killed. And I lived in this town probably about once every year or two. I see somebody laying in the middle of the street with a sheet over them and a motorcycle laying next to them. So, hey, maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe we should just say it's taboo to drink at all, period, if you're going to be getting on a motorcycle. Oh look, here's some motorcycles right in front of a bar. Stupid. Now of course we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll say, hey, just because they're parked in front of a bar doesn't mean they're going in there drinking. Maybe they're all being smart, but statistics seem to suggest that's not actually what happens, and that's just sorry. So another thing you can do if you ride motorcycles, this isn't going to save your butt at all, but it's just a good idea. Get some life insurance. Have y'all ever checked this out? This is an amazing thing. Basically, you tell somebody how much you want them to pay you if you die, and then you go and die, and they give you that much money. I'm not kidding. I thought it was too good to be true when I first checked it out, but that's the way it is. When I first got my motorcycle, like that week, I got a life insurance policy. I pay 50 bucks a month, and if I screw up and die, then $500,000 gets paid to my family, because I am the main provider of my family. So, if you're the provider for your family, you might want to do the same. And as an unintended side effect, my wife stopped griping about me having a motorcycle. I mean, she was dead set against it, did not want me to get a motorcycle. And then when I told her I had that $500,000 life insurance policy, she stopped griping about it. In fact, she just got outright interested in motorcycles after that. She started asking me all kinds of questions, like how do the brakes work? How do you loosen up the lug nuts? Or axle nuts as they would be on a motorcycle. Would I know if somebody did that? Do I check that out every day? And I told her, yeah, I check my air pressure. I check the axle nuts every time I go ride. I have a pre-flight check, so if somebody tampers with my bike, I would know. Or if things just got loose over time, I would know. She seemed kind of disappointed to hear that. I don't know why. Anyways, should do that. Wear a helmet. Think we already covered that. Wear Kevlar or some kind of Kevlar-like thing. Protect your skin. Don't ride when you're tired. Man, there's been so many times when I spent all week just looking forward to riding the motorcycle. Just waiting for that window of opportunity where I wasn't busy and the weather was good, and then it finally happened and I was tired. We got elk. I'll jump for the elk. Alright, yeah. Just don't jump in front of me, you stupid critter. Yeesh. But yeah, if I'm tired, I don't ride. I just said, alright, I'd love to go ride. Nothing I've been wanting to do more. But I'm just not in a good frame of mind. I am not going to ride. I don't ride when the roads are damp. I don't ride with passengers. I don't ride when it's dark. Pretty much anything that adds risk to going riding, I just don't do, period. Because the odds are just too crappy to begin with. I don't want to make it any worse. So, Ned, when you put this up later, if you could do me a favor and put some of the links in the description thing so that people can kind of see some stats for themselves, maybe figure out their own stats of dying riding a motorcycle. It's pretty simple. The National Highway, whatchamacallit, measures the fatalities in miles traveled per vehicle. And I think motorcycles are somewhere around 24,000. So 24,000 times a million miles ridden for a motorcycle. There's one fatality. So if you ride 2,000 miles a year, you divide that by 2,000. And if you don't notice, I cannot shift worth of crap while I'm talking. Well, you divide that by 2,000. If you ride 2,000 miles a year, if you plan on riding 10 years in your life, you can divide it by 10 again. And that's how many miles for each mile you ride. That's basically your odds. So for me, I think it was, after I did all that division, it was about 1.4 million. So I got about a 1 in 1.4 million chance of dying. Of course, my math's not that good. Could be a lot worse. Maybe I'll double check that when I get home. Here's a pretty spot. Oh, sorry, I'm sure the sun's like right in y'all's face. I'll turn around and get the sun out of our eyes. Well, this seems as pretty as a spot as any to end this one, so there you go. Over and out.